Welcome back. It's time for Inside the Newsroom. Desert News editor Doug Wilkes back with us to talk money, specifically on how our money can help the homeless.
That's right, Dave. We've reported a lot on the homeless issues over the past years. Very personal stories, very public stories,
right.
And accuse a public problem. The legislature gave $27 million to try and create 3 new shelters that'll be real centers to help the homeless. But something very interesting happened, and that's that Gail Miller and her family have agreed to a $10 million donation and will match up to $10 million anything that the public gives. That means you, that means me. Doesn't have to be a big donation, but to try and build and invest in important issues for the homeless.
We've been dealing with a lot of news stories about drugs and the Rio Grande area and the drug busts, and they've been successful, and there's that aspect. And for the most part, the homeless area has been cleaned up there at the Rio Grande. They've either gone elsewhere or they've gone to shelters. Some have gone to jail. But once the drug issue is determined, the housing issue remains. What's next for that in the housing and the homeless?
Well, there's really 3 types of housing. There's rental housing, there's low-income housing, there's transitional housing. We learned this week that Utah basically or Salt Lake City is fully occupied. There's a 2.6% vacancy rate, which is incredibly low. That means there's lots of pressure to find housing for people. But one of the things that this donation has done is it allows you to not deal with the brick and mortar part of this conversation,
right,
but to really deal with programs that will help people from the streets into housing and others have upward mobility. So, by going to homelessutah.org, you really have a chance. Go there, click, and if you click and give $5, Gail Miller will give $5. If you'll give $1,000, she'll give $1,000. And, for people like you, Dave, got to get that up there a little higher.
That's right. I'll tell you, the Millers, they have a lot, but they do a lot, and they're worthy of a shout out with this program.
Absolutely. It's tremendous. It's heartfelt. There's no ulterior motive. She simply wants to help people have better lives, and it's tremendous, and we need to support it.
All right, Inside the Newsroom, Doug Wilkes, editor of the Deseret News. Thank you, Doug.
Thanks.